What's up? My name's Corey Bergeron. You're watching Corey Bergeron Recordings, and we are back with a brand new video. It's been a minute. A lot has changed, but at the same time, a lot has also stayed the same. I'm still working at Pebble Studios. I still work on music for a living. And I guess what has changed is that my wife and we recently moved into this place. So we're living in a new home, which is cool, fun, and exciting. And what's really exciting for me is that this room is my dedicated home studio space. Everywhere I've lived, I've always had some sort of home studio setup, and it's always been kind of compromised in some way or limited. Now, this place by no means is perfect, but it's definitely the best out of anything that I've ever lived in before, and I'm really excited to kind of put time, energy, money into making this my little creative space. So my wife and I have been living here for 2 months. We moved in July 1st, and I've continued to work through it that entire time. So I've got a little bit of a feel of what I like about this room, what I want to change. But let's start with me showing you, I guess, the current setup. As you can see, it's a modest sized room. It's a room with yellow walls and like a beige-ish yellow carpet. There are 2 French doors, which are kind of nice because they let some sunlight in. Looking at my desk here, we have a dual monitor setup, which is pretty sketchy. One of my monitors is sitting on a Mac Studio box, and the other is on an iPad stand, which is really wobbly. For studio monitors, I have a pair of Avantone CLA 10s. My buddy Taylor is borrowing my Atom A7Xs. I've had this pair kicking around when I was doing the majority of my mixing out of Pebble. I really liked using the NS10s, so I decided to just kind of set these up and get a feel for them. Truthfully, I've been monitoring out of my headphones for the last, I don't know, handful of years, and I find them extremely comfortable. I really like the results I get out of them. The only thing that I can't get is really monitoring that sub low end, so I still monitor that on speakers. But for the interface, I have an Apollo Twin X. I love these units. They work as advertised. I'm a big fan of the Apollo ecosystem. Over here, we have the guitars. There's nothing really new and exciting that I haven't shared on this channel before, but beside the guitars, I have a little CRT TV. I have plans for hooking this up in a corner somewhere, but I really love the idea of just having an old CRT TV with an old video game console attached to it, something with like a cartridge based console where I can just turn it on and within 5 seconds you're playing Mario Kart, you're playing Super Smash Bros, you're playing a game like that. The other random things I have in the room at the moment that might stay, I have a set of dumbbells over there. I hate the way my body feels when I'm sitting in a chair all day, so I like to move around with light weights or resistant bands just to get my body feeling good. I have these 2 acoustic panels back here. Those will be taken out. There's a synth on the floor. I got to figure out where I'm going to put that. Over here, I have a guitar amp right next to the desk, and I'll elaborate on what I want to do with that a little later in this video. Okay, so now let's jump into what I plan to do with this space here and kind of speak about it at a higher level. I haven't figured out all the details, but I'm going to approach this kind of step by step. I think it's important to address how I plan to use the room. So obviously this is a small little room here. I don't plan on tracking drums. I primarily plan to mix, so I want to set it up in a way where I feel really comfortable mixing here. When I'm using the speakers, there's no weird reflections or some weird EQ balance in the room. I do track a lot of electric guitar, acoustic guitar, bass, some keyboard stuff. It's important that that's set up always accessible with the least amount of friction, so it's just super quick to track. I do also plan to record the occasional vocal in here, so I want to make sure that 1, it sounds good, and 2, that it's comfortable for someone to sing in here. Step 1 will be to essentially kill and manage the acoustics of the room. So I am not planning to soundproof this room, which when I say soundproof, I mean sound transfer from other rooms in the house to this room. Honestly, sound transfer isn't too much of an issue. There's a lot of square walls. You can really hear just like the quick little slapback that comes off the drywall here, and that needs to be eliminated. So I plan to build essentially acoustic panels all over with the goal of killing it. I might put some on the ceiling as well, depending on how much of a problem that is. It's a bit of an experiment. You kind of have to go through the process and address any and all problems as you go. When building the acoustic treatment in this room here, I think I'm going to build it out of 2x2s instead of 2x4s. It's going to save me 2 inches on every single wall, which will add up. I also want to figure out how I can kind of like tuck some lights and lamps and maybe some light strips in places to create some depth and texture. I I think it's important that the vibe is like dynamic, meaning that it can be like daytime feeling. You can have all the lights on, and and it feels nice and fresh and energetic. And then you could switch it to, okay, now it's like low light and warmer lights. Then you can switch it again where you're like, yo, I'm working on the song. The song sounds like it's purple. I want a purple light. It sounds crazy, but when you're working on multiple projects throughout a day, doing those little like ritualistic vibe switches is really good mentally to get you like locked in to that song. I want to make sure the vibe of the room is dynamic. Once it sounds good to my ears, I think what I'm also going to do is I'm also going to take the time to set up a test. There's products out there where you can actually like test what your room sounds like. And I've never done that before. I think that would just be like a fun, fascinating thing to do. As for the layout of the room, there's still a lot that I need to kind of like think about. What I've always had in my mind is I want this room to be comfortable for 2 people. I really like the little chair I have behind me over there. I think it takes up a small footprint. It's comfortable enough. So I want the room to not feel stuffy with 2 people in it. I think the idea of building an amp wall would be cool. So just essentially one part of the wall, I can, have a shelf that has 2, 3, 4 amp heads in it, and they're all connected into my load box, so I can really quickly from my computer just send a DI signal out and it goes into the amp that I want and it comes back. As for the interface, I think I'm going to expand into some of the bigger rack unit Apollos, specifically the one that has 8 preamps, 8 line-ins, and then 16 outputs. I think it's really important once I get everything set up the way that I want to have things plugged in and ready to go. So when I'm tracking a guitar DI, that's channel 1. When I'm tracking a vocal, that's preamp 2. When I'm tracking the synths, or if I want to reamp a guitar, or if I want to route signal from the computer into my old tape cassette deck and back in, I want to have all those things set up. So it's as simple as just assigning an input and an output and then hitting record. For the French doors, I think I'm going to put blinds over the doors, just so when the doors are closed, it actually feels like a room that you're like in. There's just something about the vibe of no one else being able to see you really lets you like lock in and focus. Originally, when I set this up, I set it up where I had the desk facing this wall over here, so my back was to the doors, and the feng shui was like so off. There's something really unsettling about having your back to a door. I think I'm going to put blinds there, but maybe I'll do like lighter color or thinner blinds so it allows some light to come through. Honestly, I'll probably just ask my wife what to do. Another thing that I need to address is this desk here. Right now I'm using an IKEA desk, and truthfully it's functional, it does the job. It's got these 2 drawers that are great for storage. It's kind of the only storage in the room, so I will also need to address like some creative ways of having storage, because right now I have batteries, earplugs, guitar picks, old hard drives, bills, my wallet, AirPods, extra cameras, microphones, guitar strings, all in one drawer. I always envisioned having like a big Argosy desk just because they look awesome, and I mean mainly just that, they look awesome, they seem functional, but this room is way too small to have something like that. And I think having a smaller desk is kind of cool. Like most people are like, I want a big desk, but I don't know, I feel like if I can get everything kind of nice and tight here, that could be cool, and it would take up a smaller footprint. Okay, so those are my thoughts on this room, where it is and where I hope to bring it. I think the next step is drawing a picture of the room and finalizing where I want things laid out. And then it's choosing a paint color, buying the materials to build the acoustic treatment, and choosing the fabric color for that acoustic treatment that looks good with the paint color. And that will probably be what the next video is. So subscribe, stay tuned. I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Man, I wanna be on YouTube so bad that it hurts me in my head. YouTube is so cool, it's like a dream. When I die, I want my body in a machine. I'm so scared that I don't know what to do. Sometimes you feel the same that I do. You can be honest, there's no need to lie.